Hello, everyone, and welcome to Blaugrana Everything, and welcome back wherever you're tuned in from. If you are a returning follower or subscriber, and of course, welcome if this is your first time. This is Blaugrana Everything. If you're a Barca fan, you could probably tell what this thing is supposed to be about just from the name. If you're not, it's supposed to be about FC Barcelona and talking about FC Barcelona. And speaking of FC Barcelona, today we're going to be talking about Barcelona's big win away at the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan as La Blaugrana outclassed Sevilla, 3-0 after an admittedly shaky start to the match. Let's not pretend like it wasn't, because it was. For a moment it looked like Sevilla would have us up against the ropes, but I wasn't worried. And you know why I wasn't worried? Because if I may just remind you, alright, last time around after the Sociedad game, I told you that there are 3 things that are certain in this life. Those 3 things were death, taxes, and Xavi Ball getting a result away from home in La Liga. And to be quite honest, we might just have to add a 4th thing to that list, the rate at which the season is going. At least maybe by the end of it, we probably would have. You know what that 4th thing is? It's Robert Lewandowski coming for that golden boot. My man has got that Pichichi in his eyes and he's really coming for it, alright? Like, whoever is holding that thing, watch your back. I have no idea what you're doing, but right now, you're probably not doing what Lewandowski is doing, just saying. And also, I'd probably be open to adding a 5th thing to that list, of things that are certain in life. It's not that I can't make up my mind. It's that the way this team is playing at the moment, the things we're seeing from this team, there are certain indications, And the 5th thing that I'd be willing to consider, depending on how the season goes here, alright? Because if Ter Stegen keeps up with the performances we've seen from him this past 4 weeks, look, that man has been in tremendous form, to be quite honest. I would say that of those 3 clean sheets he's kept from, the 4 games that he has started, aside from maybe the Valladolid one, all of the other clean sheets that we've kept, those have been down to basically just, him making some really, really good saves. We saw one very good save today from Ivan Rakitic and another one as well from Eneziri. So, this man was on top of his game. He's been on top of his game. And if he stays on top of his game, we're looking at 5 things that are certain in life. Anywho, this is the match review, so I'm going to take you through the tactical setup of both teams. Then I'm going to talk about my negatives and positives from the performance before giving you my man of the match. So again, if this is your first time listening in from from Spotify or Google Podcasts or, Amazon Music, or if it's your first time tuning in on YouTube, this is usually how match reviews go around here. So every time with Barcelona have played a match, you can probably catch me breaking things down in this way, talk about that starting 11. And that's exactly where we're going to start here, Tactical setup for FC Barcelona and, of course, for Sevilla as well, because, I don't just be focused on Barca. I've been looking at the other team as well and what they're bringing to the table. If you don't believe me, just check my shorts. You're going to see the Ones to Watch series. By the way, you should check that out. I almost accurately predicted all the scorers for Barca in this game, I had Raphinha and Lewandowski picked out, and if only Dembele was... Anyway, we'll get into that as we talk negatives and positives. But right now, let's start with the tactical setup, starting with Sevilla. Sevilla set up in a 4-4-2 formation. Now, it was a 4-4-2 diamond. I have noticed a lot of some of these advanced metrics sites, they probably missed that a little bit. So I've been seeing a lot of 4-3-3, but if you look at the general shape that Sevilla had when they were on the ball and when they were pressing Barcelona in particular, they were doing so with a 4-4-2 diamond kind of shape. So we saw Isco sitting on Busquets, and then we saw Eneziri and Lamela pressing the 2 center backs, just using their cover shadows to cut off that lane to the wing backs, but also pressing the two center backs, basically forcing Barca to give the ball to Ter Stegen so they can play it long. Alright, so this was the starting lineup for Sevilla on the night. In goals, they had Bono, who was really unfortunate to be on like the losing side here, but Barca were just that good. The back four had Acuna, Nianzou, Fernando, and Montiel, with Gudeli playing that holding role, and Rakitic and Hodan playing those interior kind of positions, those central midfielders who are wide either side of the defensive midfielder. And Isco was in the hole, in that number 10 role. And of course, up front, Lamela and En-Nesyri. And so, we saw a lot of En-Nesyri and Lamela making runs off the shoulder of the last defender. They were trying to work that offside trap, but kudos to Barcelona, that offside trap under Xavi has come a long way. They were caught offside almost every time. Okay, the one time that they didn't, En-Nesyri was through, but Ter Stegen was there. Barcelona, on the other hand, set up with the same lineup basically as last weekend against Valladolid. It was a 4-3-3 as per usual. So this is what the team looked like. Alright, I've talked about the setup, so it's now time to move on and speak about some of my negatives and positives. Okay, basically my takeaways. My takes away. I don't know which one is it. My thoughts on the performance of the team as a whole from start to finish. And I will start by giving you my negatives as usual. And this time around, again, I only had the one negative, to be honest, and that was that it was a slow start here by FC Barcelona, okay? It took a while for Barca to get going, and to be quite honest, you could even argue that Barca never really got going until that second goal by Lewandowski, or at least round about the time when they were getting that second goal is when they really started to click into gear. This match started with a lot of pressure from Sevilla. Like I was saying earlier, for a moment, for some people anyway, it probably looked like Barca were going to have a very, very long night. But there's something about Barcelona away from home, especially under Xavi. And anyway, it's probably a concept I'll get to when we talk about the positives. But for now, I'm focusing on the fact that as much as we did end up taking over the match and, winning it, it could have easily been Barcelona like 2-0 down within the opening 20 minutes here, right? If not for Ter Stegen, especially, this could definitely have been the case. So that slow start was not too good. It took a while for our defense in particular to wake up, and our midfield, to wake up. And I felt like once the midfield did wake up, then we started to see a lot more of Barcelona putting Sevilla under pressure, sustained pressure, keeping the ball and playing around with it. Okay, let's move on and talk positivos. My first positive is following on from the fact that Barca had a slow start, but it was good to see that even when Sevilla were on top of things, even when Sevilla were looking like they were asking Barca all the questions, Barcelona did not panic. Okay, this is very important. We've seen this in the past where we start getting put under pressure and, players just start panicking. They start rushing to pass the ball off to somebody else because they don't want, to be under pressure. They start doing uncharacteristic things. And there's a huge potential of that happening here, especially with the kind of energy and the atmosphere that everything started with here for Sevilla. And those opening 20 minutes was really an electric atmosphere at home there by Sevilla. And they did do a lot of good things, which, on another day could have put Barca down. But Barcelona did not panic. Like I said, once again, everybody knew what the game plan was, and that's exactly what they did. And you know what they say, right? Everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face. Well, okay, it's not what they say, it's what Mike Tyson said, right? Everybody had a plan until they got punched in the face. And then, from there on, once Barca got that goal, it was pretty much a case of what my second positive is going to be, which is that we took our chances. Sorta, right? Because last weekend I was nitpicking about how we could have scored 8 or 7 or 6 or 5. And this weekend, to be quite honest, we could have done that again. But the difference, though, I'll put it here, is that we took our chances in the crucial moments, right? When those match turning moments came, okay? The first goal from Raphinha, pouncing on that, Lewandowski effort, which had been cleared off the line. The second goal from Lewandowski, coming literally out of nowhere, just, a brilliant cross into him from Jule Kounde, playing at right back, who was absolutely fantastic today, right? It's those kinds of moments. In those crucial moments, we took our chances. Now, we could have scored a lot more. Just in the first half alone, we could have been 4-0 up, okay? Ousmane Dembele, yeah, we're probably all looking at him a bit sideways, like, bro, next time just pass that ball to Lewandowski if he makes that long bursting run with you on a counter-attack. But, Dembele wanted to get in on the score sheet. I don't blame him. I personally predicted that Dembele, Lewandowski, and Raphinha would score today. I must have put him under pressure, He was trying to impress me. It's cool, bro. It's cool, Dembele. You don't have to do that. All right. So, my third and final positive. Once again, it's also kind of connected to this whole issue of not panicking, this whole issue of having had that slow start, getting those big chances and taking them, which is that we're finally seeing a Barcelona team that can thrive in chaos. Now, admittedly, I only have like two games here to pick out from, It's a small sample size, all right? And that makes this a stretch, okay? I'm extrapolating here, okay, together with my imagination. But if you look at the match against Sociedad, if you look at the match here as well against Sevilla, and you look at the manner in which Barcelona's goals came, a lot of those goals came in both of these matches, right? Sociedad and also here, and also last night, Sevilla. A lot of those goals came at the moments when the match was in, a state of flux, when things were just going, back and forth. It looked like, Sevilla are going to score. Then, Barcelona has the ball going up the other end and they score, right? It looked like Sevilla were having a corner kick late in the first half, which they could have put back one from. The next thing you know, Dembele and Lewandowski are bearing down on goal. And, Dembele jinks this way, that way, and he has an effort goal just marginally wide, right? So it's Barcelona thriving in situations where in the past, we struggled to assert ourselves on a game if we didn't have control of it, right? But today, what we saw, and also what we saw last time out away from home against Sociedad, is a Barcelona team that didn't necessarily have control. Okay, didn't have control for large parts against Sociedad. Here as well, Sevilla, the first 20 or so minutes, zero control. But from that chaos that exists in the game, from that state of flux of moving one way then the other, of being under pressure then attacking, Barcelona still came out on top because they're just proving that they're now developing this mentality where they can thrive in those conditions and they can still play just as well as they would if they were dominating their opposition. That's something that's pretty awesome, and it's pretty exciting, to be honest, because we're going to have a lot of games where basically that opening 20 minutes, it's going to happen against a lot of good teams if we come against them, right? If you play PSG, if you play a Liverpool with all their stars, if you play in Manchester City, if you play, all these top clubs, Bayern Munich, that's really going to be an interesting match to watch. Can't wait, especially for the Allianz Arena, right? Because, Xavi ball and playing away from home. Anywho, I'm going to move on now, wrap this video up by giving you my man of the match. And this time around, it wasn't somebody who I was expecting, okay? I was expecting that I'll be talking the Lewandowskis, the Dembeles, the Raphinhas, the Pedris, those kind of names. But this time around, I have to give it up for the man, JK. You know what? He went back to his old stomping ground, Sanchez Pizjuan, and he went and just got 2 assists. Assisted Lewandowski, assisted Eric Garcia. Could have easily assisted Lewandowski twice in this match, I should add. And everything that he needed to do defensively, he did it. This man was just on point. He was coming correct in every situation. and I loved it. Like I am totally here for it, and I'm glad to see what this dude is able to do. Like, he was playing out of position, right? Keep that in mind as well. But there were so many moments in here where, defensively he was vital. Going forward as well, he had some big contributions. And in as much as there were some pretty spectacular performances in this game as well from the likes of Gavi, from Dembele as well, who he carried the energy of this team. Like, once Dembele was subbed off, you even just saw the energy levels drop from Barcelona. Like, he was that electric. Same for Raphinha as well, and Lewandowski, of course. But I just have to give my man of the match this time around to Jule Kounde, because what a performance, and I hope to see a lot more of the same from him. Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, basically brings me to the end of this match review. What were your thoughts on the game? Who was your man of the match? Are there any negatives or positives that you think that I left out? Feel free to interact. You can, you can DM on Instagram. You can comment on YouTube. This will be up on YouTube as well. You can let me know your thoughts there. But aside from that, there's nothing really else for me to say apart from thank you for tuning in. Have a great day, and Forza Barça.